Hello and welcome to MediaCast, the podcast series from Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and with me today is a young veteran in journalism and the beautiful deployment of content for society and enterprise. Please join me in welcoming one of my favorite editors, Tanya Chaitanya, Chief Content Officer, Digital and Diversity Initiatives at Reliance Industries. Tanya, welcome to MediaCast and thank you so much for your time at the fag end of a working day. It's well past, 8:45 p.m. on a working day, and so thanks for the effort and the participation.
Thank you, Pavan. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It clearly goes to an audience that is interested in knowing about media activities, things that are happening in the media world. And I think I've known you long enough to say that it's in very good hands. So thanks for having me.
You're very kind and you're very, very welcome to Tanya. And thanks also to Ayushi Mathur of Mozart for having made this interaction possible. So Tanya, before we get onto the business end of our conversation, allow me to briefly introduce you to any of my listeners who might need that introduction. But then I must do you that courtesy and them too.
Sure.
Tanya Chaitanya is Chief Content Officer, Digital and Diversity Initiatives at Reliance Industries, which she joined in April 2020 after a 13-year-long service as Editor-in-Chief and CCO at Femina India, where she transformed India's largest-selling women's magazine into India's largest women's digital platform with 7x growth, and that's remarkable because, she was actually growing an already massive number. And then she grew it 7 times. Tanya's role with Reliance NGO is to build digital communities with the purpose of inclusion and empowerment while harnessing the group's technological strength and reach. And what a reach it has. Tanya works very closely with Mrs. Neeta Ambani, who is emotionally very invested in Her Circle, which is Tanya's first business line with Reliance. And Her Circle is something she has conceptualized, that is, Tanya has conceptualized, created and executed as a one-stop digital destination for women worldwide. Her Circle is an app, a website, a social networking community, a personalized tracker, a content platform, a job site, an upskilling zone, an expert query space, and more. Previously, as the editor-in-chief of Femina, Tanya Chaitanya had been instrumental in brand expansion regionally with 3 successful spin-offs, Femina Hindi, Femina Tamil, and Femina Bangla, both in print and online. Under Tanya's editorship, Femina expanded its magazine portfolio and successfully launched Femina Salon and Spa, a B2B and B2C brand catering to salon professionals. Tanya has worked towards women empowerment causes and has won 5 UNFPA Ladli Media Awards for gender-sensitive reportage, as well as multiple awards ranging from Woman of the Decade in Media Leadership and Gender Journalism by Women Economic Forum, Women's Super Achiever Award by World Women Leadership Congress and Awards, amongst others. An alumnus of IIM Calcutta, Tanya started her career in 2000 as a producer for the BBC and later worked with the Times of India and the India Today Group too. So that, my dear listeners, is Tanya Chaitanya, my distinguished guest on this episode of MediaCast, the podcast series from Mediabrief.com. So Tanya, once again, welcome to the episode and we can get on to the business end of our conversation. So Tanya, tell me about Her Circle. I know it is a digital collective of women and is designed to be a one-stop destination to provide women-related content that is engaging and upliftment-oriented, even as it connects women with one another through a social platform. Now, that is its official description. But do tell me more about Her Circle, its USPs and strengths. And one of the USPs is already in that descriptor that I gave you about, the beautiful, wonderful power of women. But still, tell me, when was it launched and how has it grown so far?
Thanks, Pavan. It delights me to talk about Her Circle because, when you are with a brand that is known, which is a legacy brand, which is a brand that, you work upon, you can add to it. However, when you launch your own brand, when you launch a business line that is absolutely fresh, it's something that you conceptualize, something that you worked upon, it has a special place in your heart. And Her Circle is that baby that I have. It's very important for me to talk about how my previous experience has helped me envision something like this. So, for instance, when you were talking about my experiences, whether it was with the BBC or it was with the Times of India group or the fact that I was at the helm of Femina for 13 years, all of that, made me realize that women have a voice. When we say we give them a voice, we don't really. They have a voice. They need a platform.
Right.
And for her circle, when I spoke to Nita Ambani about it, I was very clear. There was a one-line idea that I had. It was that, while we will give content to her as a media platform, we also want to connect with her.
Right.
So it's not a one-way street. We want to hear back from her about what she wants, and we want to add that to our editorial offering in order to help her network better with each other, in order to have that voice that she has, her very unique voice, which we cannot change and will not change, and then give it that platform and say, reach out to each other. And that has really stood us in good stead, I must say.
Lovely, beautiful idea, really. I mean, I'm so taken up by the fact that, yes, obviously women have a voice and, they are absolutely amazing in their originality, in the manner in which they think, just as the crow flies, straight to the point. And it's amazing. And I'm not editorializing, I'm not, patronizing anybody. I have an enormous respect for women. And the beautiful thing that you did was acknowledge they have a voice. Now give them the platform, which is her circle. So when did the idea come to you, to develop her circle?
The idea came to me 3 years ago. I wanted a one-stop destination for women where they could engage, read content, view content. We are also video first in many ways, even when it comes to content. Then the second part was to connect them to each other and build a platform where they could network on interests that are shared. So think of it as a platform where she finds new friends with shared interests, and they could range from anything, from gardening to, beauty to fashion to, and we see that there is one space in which we've seen so much traction. It's the startup space. So there are lots of women entrepreneurs who have signed up with us.
Lovely.
And I will tell you about the numbers also as we go along.
And when did you actually, press the upload and launch and, out into the great blue yonder button for her circle? When was it launched?
So the thought developed, and once I was on board, I took about a year to hire a team to get the tech going. Now, this is obviously an initiative which is with Jio. So, we had the tech team with us from the Jio stable, and we are a part of the Reliance Foundation, because obviously the thought is to, this is a larger cause. The connection of women to bridge the digital gender divide that exists is a much larger cause than just you and I, right? So it falls under the Reliance Foundation along with Jio. And the effort, after a year, the effort put in by the tech team, by the editorial team, it came to fruition on March 8, 2021.
Okay. And how has it grown since then? The numbers?
It has grown phenomenally. It's like a baby that is, that is just...
become an adult in like 1.5 years.
Yes, absolutely. It has shown such staggering growth. Even I couldn't expect, considering I have experience in this space, I was expecting some sort of growth. But we are at 100 million plus reach in 1 year.
What? Wow. It's amazing.
Yeah, so that is a number that, and when people ask me I am unable to answer. This, I will attribute it to one thing, one very important thing. It is that we did not hold the reins of editorials with us. We said, you post. You have a thought, you post.
Correct.
We moderate, yes, to some extent.
Yes.
Because obviously we have to ensure that there is it's a safe space for her. But the kind of conversations that you will see between women, the kind of conversations that they have openly, because also please keep in mind that Her circle is a safe space, which is why while the content that we generate is for everyone, the networking is only for women, between women, or those who identify as women.
Okay.
Again, very important for me to mention that for us, trans women are women.
Absolutely.
So if they identify as women, then they are very welcome on the platform. They can openly discuss issues without any hesitation.
Lovely.
So that's one part of the platform. And the other part of the platform, which I call the Grow bucket that we have, it has masterclasses, and they cover social skills, they cover professions that one could learn just by interning or working with a master. So say, for instance, how to be a makeup artist, how to be a stylist, how to be a dog trainer. We have all of these masterclasses on our platform. They are 45 minutes long, and all you need to do is register, and you are then a part of this larger network. Beyond that as well, we have job opportunities, very well curated job opportunities. We have tied up with a few consultants. We also reach out to companies that are open to diverse hiring, open to inclusive hiring, and all of those job listings are on our platform. In fact, we get a lot of interesting testimonials. I found a job through her circle. And I'm like, great, good. And so, they thank us and they get back to us because we are like a little ecosystem of across, right? So if you found a job, you have a profile on the connect part of the platform. You can come there and you can then say, hey, yay, I got a job. And then her friends will support her. So it's just a very beautiful space to be in.
Meeting of the minds.
Yes, it's a great space to be in.
Yeah. Lovely. So, Tanya, very, very nice, very purpose-driven, and it comes under the Reliance Foundation, which is absolutely, completely invested in society. And, from Reliance Industries, it is there, not just a gesture, but a huge initiative that goes out, circles back to thank the society that helps the company grow in the first place, So giving back in a beautiful way, and they haven't cut any corners. They get the best people. I'm talking to one of them. And her circle. So is this under which specific, just as the UN has several principles and missions to, do good in society, which particular, let's say, stated mission of Reliance Foundation is her circle out to sort of take forward and, fulfill?
So her circle has been envisioned as a Reliance Foundation and Geo initiative. Okay. Here, the idea is to give back in such a way that we bridge the digital gender divide that exists.
Okay.
It's very big on the agenda for us. It is very important for us to ensure that women get information, women connect, women have that power of technology.
Right.
And that's how the Reliance Foundation and Geo initiative, her circle, came about. And it has come from a larger thought. So it was very important for us to keep it non-commercial. At no point are we looking at any advertising or any kind of commercials really.
Lovely.
For us, although, that said, coming from a background which is, I come from media. So I understand how that functions. And I know that, there are certain deserving brands that don't get mentioned because sometimes they don't advertise. And here, this is the service we do. So when we do talk about a product, or we talk about a particular movie, or we talk about anything that is out there, we come from a completely editorial point of view. Yes, it's a very editorial point of view.
Lovely.
So if we like a particular product and we want to talk about it, we will. If we don't like a particular product, and it could be from the Reliance Group also, we have that absolute, sort of right to talk clearly, honestly. And that really gives an editorial person like me a lot of strength. A lot of belief that there is still a lot of good out there.
When you don't have this kind of lineage and the whole mission and vision and the entire business orientation, business meaning not the commercial business, but your raison d'etre is to do good and to serve society, and you have no mercenary or commercial axe to grind, right? when you don't like something, what are the grounds of not liking something? Is it anti-women? Is it biased? Is the tone or quality of the content or the expression that sort of gets to you? Or is it just that, oh, I don't like the whole creation of this? Because otherwise, even the worst book represents an author's best effort. So, what is it that, the kind of stuff that you sometimes don't like and you say so?
So essentially we review, products. They could be beauty products, they could be fashion products, they could be lifestyle products, they could be books, they could be movies. And yes, of course, we will always come from a very strong point of view for women.
Okay.
And if it in some way doesn't work, then we will call it out. We call it out, for sure.
Right.
The second is really for us, even when I talk about fashion, you would say that, how does fashion fit in with women empowerment? And it does. It does. Because when she dresses well, she dresses for herself, she dresses with confidence, that is her.
Absolutely.
When she wears makeup, when she wears a lipstick that makes her feel strong in a boardroom full of men, that is her.
Right.
So we don't want to put women in a box. It is so important to say that, hey, she can be the CEO of her company, she can be a great mother, she can enjoy her makeup and beauty products, she can be all of that. So for us, it becomes important to talk about all of these elements.
Right, and what you just told me, Tanya, connects beautifully with my next question, which I had planned because I've done a bit of research and study on Her Circle, even though I'm not allowed in it.
You are. You can consume the content. It's only the networking you can't do. Pavan, we are not allowing you to network.
Okay. So the Her Circle digital cover for June 2022 actually features 3 champions of sustainability. One is fashion, the other is beauty, and the third is environment. The 3 champions of sustainability that have been on the Her Circle digital cover for June 2022. So tell me about these 3 and how they fit in the champions of sustainability.
So Pavan, when I'm talking about fashion and beauty also in the space of Her Circle, because we believe that everything has to be conscious and everything has to be mindful.
Right.
So even our fashion is in the space of sustainability. The products that we feature, the brands that we talk about. In fact, I'm wearing one such brand. It's called Safed. And, this is a completely sustainable brand. They don't use dyes. They are, they are in the space of preserving the environment, even while making clothes.
Lovely.
So these are the kind of brands that we talk of. These are the kind of brands that we stand for. And these are the kind of brands that we review. So when you were asking me about reviewing brands, these are the ones that we review. And do keep in mind that there is a lot of greenwashing also that is going on in the name of sustainable fashion. So when we review, we are also mindful of that when we're talking about fashion. Beauty, we try and look at everything that is in the cruelty-free space, mostly looking at organic beauty, but also if it's clinical, then ensuring that it's cruelty-free in the best way possible. We have lifestyle stories that we do. When we talk about travel, we talk about conscious travel. We talk about safe travel for women.
Okay.
So everything in our content space is very mindfully done. We do not chase SEO mindlessly.
Wow. Very well thought out, Tanya. And exactly and absolutely, to my mind, walking the precise talk. So, really good. And Tanya, I also remember reading about personal tracker. That's really amazing, something that every woman would, I think, be grateful to you for, So tell us about that, because it's a very strong USP. It is Her Circle after all, and well thought out.
Thank you.
Tell my listeners that is.
Yes. So I'll tell you a little bit about the fact that Her Circle, when I was telling you originally about it, we have different buckets. One is Engage, which is where you see all our content. Then the second is Connect, which is where all our social networking happens for women. Third is Grow, which is where your job opportunities, masterclasses exist. The fourth is Health, which is where all the Reliance Foundation hospital doctors give advice free of charge.
Wow.
And the fifth is it's a very interesting space. It is called goals, and these are, women have personal goals, I may have a goal to be fit. So there, I have a health tracker on the app. Basically, I put in all the information and then it tracks my meals. I just put in some amount of, I had this roti, I had this. It'll just tell me how many calories I've consumed, how much is allowed to me beyond this. It'll track my water intake. It's going to track every bit of, exercise that I may have done. If I just input that information, it'll tell me how many calories I burned. And so it will tell me how far I am from my fitness goal. That is a health tracker. There is a second tracker called the finance tracker. So there I set a saving goal. Like say for instance, I want to buy a car in about a year's time, or I want to buy a house in 2 years' time. Then I put in my income and the expenses that come in. It's all very easy. There are drop-down menus. You just select that, you just put in the amount, and it tells you how far you are from your financial goal. Every day you can log in, or you can do a weekly login. It also analyzes your income versus spending pattern. So it tells you, what you're doing wrong. Perhaps you're spending too much, say, on OTT. I don't know.
I do that.
So, there are those little things that it just reminds you, okay, it helps you analyze where you're going wrong. So that's the second tracker under goal. The third is the fertility tracker. So a lot of women, want to know what is the right time, when are they ovulating, etc. And that tracker with a little bit of information will help them understand that. And then the fourth is the period tracker.
Okay.
So period planning is a big thing for women. They don't, they have to travel. They need to know exactly what is the time they should be prepared for, period, her monthly period. So all of that information is there. This is why I call it the safe space for a woman's growth, because it gives her information that is so close to her heart, that is so, so personal, and yet it helps her. We are her friend in a way. We are hand slapping her when she shouldn't be eating the wrong things. We are there telling her, don't spend on the wrong things. With the finance tracker, with the period and the fertility tracker, we are with her all the way. And then we also have a pregnancy guide that tells her what is happening to her body when she's pregnant, week by week, along with what is happening to the baby's size, the growth. We also give her a reminder of the clinical visits that she's supposed to, look at. We also have something called the the bumps, the baby bumps that happen. So we have the bumpy tracker. So when I say we are a metaverse for women, we literally are that. We are looking at everything for women, and technology helps us aid them.
Lovely. There was something that you did which I really liked. I heard about it, and I even saw one digital cover. But I want you to tell us about it. The carbon neutral shoot.
So, Pavan, the sustainability month for us is very special, and it is the month of June 2022.
Right.
The way we wanted to go ahead was to look at featuring women on our first digital cover, which had women who are sustainability champions.
Wow.
And we looked at a variety of women, people who stand for sustainability, and the screening process was long. Everybody got together. We said we are looking at people who are relatively known, and these are very big names in the sustainability circuit, but they may not be known to the general public so much. So we said, so what? The point is to introduce then the general public to these amazing women. So we looked at a fashion entrepreneur. She's Kirti Punya, very well known in the circular fashion space. She's just launched a brand called Relove, which talks about buying pre-loved fashion, which is great because, really at the end of everything is the fact that we should consume less. And that is how sustainability will thrive.
Right.
So, someone like a Kirti Punya, then we had Rameshwari. Rameshwari, you may know from older times. She used to be an actress.
Yes.
But now she's in the beauty space. She's working in organic beauty, cruelty-free beauty, vegan beauty space.
Wow.
And has developed products. Her Neemly Naturals products are developed in the most conscious way possible. And the third is Elsie Gabriel. She's an environmentalist. She's an award-winning environmentalist. She talks about water conservation, oceans, and she also teaches young minds to understand the impact of what we do today on their tomorrow.
Okay.
So, these are these three amazing women that we finally selected. And then we said, hey, let's go to Goa and shoot. And then we said, my God, that is the most unsustainable thing to do. We will be traveling, and
Yeah.
that's when we hit upon the idea that let's not just feature these sustainability champions, let's make this cover 100% carbon neutral cover.
Lovely thought. So what did you do? Where do you shoot?
So we shot in there's this bungalow, it's in Malad, and it's an eco built.
Oh.
It's an eco structure. So basically how this person went about creating it was that he only hired people from within 1 kilometer radius, only got materials from within 1 kilometer radius. It has high ceilings, there are no ACs, so it's a beautiful property.
Lovely.
And if you know of a show called Art, then it was shot there.
Okay, sorry, I have to interject here. Because you just mentioned a very, very favorite show of mine, which is Ahat. I was the executive producer on Ahat when we launched Sony Entertainment Television in 1995. 8th again, but October.
Wow.
Yeah, so please go ahead.
Yes, Ahat was shot there, and when my people went to do a recce, they went really early in the morning and they got all scared. But it was just the right place to shoot in. We recceed a few places, and we were very careful. Our people were ensuring that the commute was very limited, and only while going back home they were doing the recce. So we were very mindful of every little thing that we did.
Wonderful.
The next step for us was to source from sustainable fashion brands, and hats off to all the brands that came forward, knowing that this was not a celebrity shoot. They were very happy to give us their clothes for the shoot, and there are about even jewelry brands. We had some footwear brands. Everyone participated wholeheartedly, knowing that this was going to be a landmark sort of cover that they were participating in. And Pavan, I'd also like to tell you that, there are simple things that we don't keep in mind. Like when we are at a shoot, we put on lights, we get those big, large lights and we use those. So we ensured that we shot in the daytime. We only use natural light.
Wow.
Our photographer, Anai, is known to work only with natural light. So we got her on board. The other thing we did was be very mindful of the hair and makeup, because we use a lot of heating tools. And then there's electricity that's consumed. So we ensured that we told our cover people, that they wash their hair, curl their hair at home, maybe braid their hair, and keep it simple, so that we didn't end up using any heating tools. An interesting thing is that you shouldn't wear nail paint. It's very bad for the environment.
Oh.
So we told them not to wear nail paint. And we also ensured, at our office, in fact, most of my girls have gone off nail paint for life. But we ensured that we told our cover people not to wear nail paint. And then on the day of the shoot, we got products that are organic, cruelty-free, and those were the only beauty products that we used. Over and above that, the catering that was done on that day was done by a home chef who stays within 1 kilometer of the location.
Wow.
And she got all steel plates and disposable plates. We did our garbage segregation. We carried steel bottles for everybody with their names, so that there was no plastic usage, etc.
Wow.
And even after all of that was done, we ensured that we were 100% carbon mindful by planting 100 trees.
Wow.
Through a foundation called the Sankalp Taru Foundation.
Lovely.
So, any carbon footprint that we may have generated, we ensured that we, negated it.
Beautiful. So the Her Circle digital cover for June 2022, it actually featured these three champions of sustainability, and you guys lived it through the shoot: fashion, beauty, and environment. And what you're also doing is actually placing this kind of awareness in the minds of every single one of your community member on Her Circle. And it's 110 million plus, I think, by now. Really wonderful. And I'm not surprised you're growing at all. Sure, you have the might of Reliance and Jio with you, but ultimately, it's just the magic and the beauty of content that touches you, which is relevant and which helps you, that can speak. Something can start, it can be a flash in the pan, but this sustained growth really speaks for itself. So Doffing my hat to you, Tanya.
Thank you, Pavan. Thanks so much.
See, MediaCast is also about people who, professionals across sectors, across verticals, across disciplines, across kind of job and work profiles. Professionals who use the media or different kinds of mediums, if I may use that word or coin it. How these professionals use the media to create engagements, to empower their businesses, initiatives, enterprise, whether they are commercial or purpose driven. And so tell me, how do you promote awareness about Her Circle? I'm sure it's a lot of word of mouth, it's a lot of your own community, meaning the community of users and members. But what else? I mean, how do you proactively reach out to take the goodness of Her Circle to women who've never ever sort of heard of it or experienced it? How do you market it?
So, Her Circle as a platform, because it comes blessed by the very large Geo network, it gets that visibility. And on a monthly basis, we are present as an app of Reliance and Geo. We are present as a tab on the Geo, on the Geo visibility, their visibility chart. And, so we have that support and it really helps. And, every time a cover is released, it goes up on the platform. And I see that there are so many men on Geo, but we still manage to engage with the men as well. Because, at the end of the day, Her Circle, while it is envisioned as a safe space for women, that is only in the social networking category. The content is free and available to everyone.
Right.
And I say that we need allies, we need, everyone should be talking about the fact that diversity, inclusivity is the only way to grow for the entire world and the planet. So, we need allies, we need men like you, Pavan. We need everyone to speak up for women, with women, stand with them, because that's 50% of the sky, that's half the sky. We are half the earth.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think it's so important that we, we work together towards a common goal. And that should be to...
So what I will say now here in this episode, in response to your call out to men and everyone to help create awareness about Her Circle, we at Mediabrief will be very happy and privileged to give you some interesting, good, prominent inventory across the site, free of cost. It will just be our way of giving back. So we will see some good collateral of Her Circle on Mediabrief, on our newsletters. In the midst of each and every single thousands of posts, we'll put a banner for you. And I hope it helps, because this kind of awareness, this kind of positive mindset, this desire to sort of remove the gender inequality on the digital space is really laudable, and we'd like to help.
That is so, so sweet. Very kind of you.
Not at all, not at all. It's a privilege. And what are your plans going ahead? Yeah, you will grow it, you will make it even bigger, everything else. But what is your vision for it? Because I know that you're not just going to sit back and knowing that you are Tanya and knowing what you've done. And I say that with a lot of humility and much pride, in what you've done and accomplished.
Thank you.
What is your vision? What do you want to do? I mean, will it branch out into even more bigger CSR kind of initiatives, things that are actively done to, through the Reliance Foundation? Because you have this amazing giant behind you who is completely committed to good causes also, right? So how do you plan to, take that and get the maximum advantage for women?
So thanks for asking this, because Her Circle is, the reason we chose a circle as our identity is because it's infinite. And, you cannot say that this is how it ends. It, in fact, only starts.
Oh, yeah.
So for us, it was very important to know what our, what our growth will be going forward and how we will plan it ahead. So the first thing we did in the year 2022, March 8, Women's Day, 1 year completion, we also launched Her Circle in Hindi.
Wow.
So now, and this is not a pure translation. These are all original pieces of content. These are all new platforms that are generated for the Hindi consumer. And her circle went multilingual in its first year itself.
Wow.
So definitely regions and multilingual is going to be our big agenda going forward as well. We will be looking at other languages, and we are already in the process of doing so. So that's one.
Hmm.
The second, and I'm so happy that you ask about the future, because the future is, people say the future is female, the present is female. I feel the future is all of us together equally in it.
Yes.
And I would like to imagine that First Circle will be a large universe. It will be a movement. It will be platform which is not just, and I always say our TG is a woman with a decent smartphone and a good data pack. And that's all that you need to be our TG. But the point here is that we are looking to grow into a larger platform where even those women who do not have access to a data pack or a phone get access to some of our skill building workshops. So state governments are already being spoken to. There have been alliances that we will be announcing super soon.
Lovely.
So where we will be enhancing their skills, women who need that support, whether it is with women prisoners or it is with women laborers, we will be working towards making it a very large movement. There will be on ground activations as well. The intent is to make sure that there's just not a lot of talk, but there is a lot of talk with a purpose that will then see some sort of fruition, something that happens in terms of solutions, whether it's women's safety, women's security, women's rights. So across board.
Lovely.
All of that will happen, and I'm hoping that we are the metaverse for women. That's how I see us.
That's a lovely vision. See, the point is that if you care about what you're doing and you do it with a mission, and because you love to help and do good, then you will tap into every source of support, influential power, every kind of positive kind of support behind you. And that's what you already have started doing. And you do have an amazing corporate behind you. So very good. I think you really are doing a fabulous job, Tanya.
Thank you.
Tanya, unsolicited advice is just a wish that I have. I hope you'll be able to bring out some genuine, nice, and I know they will be genuine because everything you do on the content space is really organic and editorial and not commercially motivated. But awards for sustainable fashion, sustainable beauty, sustainable or sustainability of the environment and initiatives like these. And because I'll tell you something. I have been to so many B2B awards today. Every one of them, you will see the 2 or 3 main sponsors walking away with about 90% of the award. And they happen. They are like little shops today. And I'm shocked at the complete mercenary drive by the publishers and the stupid gullibility of the sponsors. Nevertheless, we need a lot of such engagements and business needs to grow. But from you guys, from her circle, if genuine awards can come out, it'll be amazing. And number 2, I am now dying to be able to read some of the publicly shareable kind of conversations that happen amongst like-minded women, smart women, intelligent women, which is each and every woman who's on your platform and around us. And if you could bring out a kind of a book that makes me privy to that kind of information and see how are they thinking, because this is the kind of thinking that will become like a little bit of a torchbearer or a guiding light, because ultimately what you're setting out to do, you will take everything to the grassroots, I'm sure, and this might be just one more way of doing it. That's a really long observation. I'm sorry, I've hogged the conversation. But what do you think of these thoughts?
I think great minds right there, thinking alike. So the awards idea is something that we're already working on, Pavan, and
Lovely.
yeah, it just gives me great relief that I would be able to award the really deserving, and it comes from a person who has been in this space. So yeah, it makes me happy that something of this nature will be a reality very soon.
Lovely.
And the second thought is about print. And who would love print more than I do?
Print or digital, whatever.
Absolutely. So we are definitely thinking about something like that. But thank you for suggesting it also, because it just makes me feel that we are on the right track. And since you have done and you have looked at the platform.
And what about relationships? You know,
Yeah.
what kind of help, hand holding, or guidance, or whatever, just moral support in relationship issues or whatever? What do you do?
Yeah, we have counselors from the Reliance Foundation Hospital, and when I said there's a health section, there are our counselors, there are our doctors as well. And Pavan, the thing is, it's very personal. So even we don't have access to this information, but there are times when doctors come back to us saying, "Look, this is an SOS situation. This woman has written about a certain situation. There is." So I'll give you an instance. There was one of domestic violence. At that point, we had to, we said we will reach out to her, and we wrote to her, and we got an NGO to step in, and that matter was resolved.
Okay.
So we are interacting with them daily, and we understand, where to step in and where not to. And we keep everything that information of theirs is absolutely personal to them, and it goes directly to the doctor. Only when the doctor says we have to, it's an SOS, is when we actually step in and help her out.
Lovely, lovely. So Her Circle actually is a digital community with heart and clout both, which is amazing. Lovely.
Thank you.
So, Tanya, I really enjoyed my conversation with you. It was really insightful. And I think what you're doing is something that actually truly is the how-to of walking the purpose talk. When you say that you're out from a foundation for something that is purely and completely for good and not at all commercial driven. I think from the beginning, from when you started not too long ago on the 8th of March in 2021, that's about a year and a half. And within that much time, you've crossed more than 100 million users and connected users. And I'm sure most of them would be repeat users and not just first timers who ever came on.
I must mention, Pavan, to you, is that we also have 1 lakh registered entrepreneurs on the platform.
Wow.
So these are these women entrepreneurs who are, on our platform, and they interact. They put out their wares, and they put out their products.
Lovely. I enjoyed all the insights. Thank you very much indeed, Tanya, for all the time. What did you think of our conversation, Tanya, so far?
I think this was so much fun. Pavan, you are somebody who's well respected and well loved in the industry, in the space. And, to be able to chat with you about something that is so close to my heart, that is literally my baby, Her Circle, it was an absolute pleasure. And I think the generosity that you're showing also in giving us visibility to the right audience, all of that is something that I really value. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanya. It's a pleasure. It's a privilege to be of any little help that I can be of. It was really nice talking to you. Thanks for giving me all the time.
And Pavan, I'd like to say that the work that you're doing with Mediabrief.com is excellent. It's far-reaching, and it also comes with a lot of credibility. So good luck.
That's really high praise coming from you, Tanya. That is precious, and I will cherish that. Thank you ever, ever so much.
Thank you.
Tanya Chaitanya, Chief Content Officer, Digital and Diversity Initiatives at Reliance Industries and the custodian and the creator of the wonderful Her Circle, was my distinguished guest on this episode of MediaCast, the podcast series from Mediabrief.com. Till we meet again in the next episode of MediaCast, the podcast series from Mediabrief.com, this is your host and friend Pavan R. Chawla saying, take care, stay safe, bye-bye.